Hey, it's Pastor Jonathan here. We are here to talk about snacks. When do you do snacks? How do you do snacks? Why do we do snacks? Well, snacks don't have any super spiritual purpose, but they are great for helping kids refocus, right? And so especially at these young ages when we're trying to break up lots of activities so that they can stay with their attention span, we do snacks. Now with snacks, that's a bit of a responsibility for us because we are liable for whatever we give the kids. And sometimes kids will have allergic reactions or they might have some kind of food that they're just not developmentally ready for. So we have what we consider age-appropriate snacks. All of our snacks we filter as a church staff to make sure that there's not any allergic reaction that's going to happen or that there's not going to be any choking hazard that's going to happen. Sometimes we eliminate snacks because they're too messy, all right? So what we would ask of you is to let us make the decisions about what kind of snacks to provide. So please don't bring in your own snacks, even if you're willing to buy something special for the kids. We'd rather have the food decisions be going through our staff so we make sure that it's a safe thing for kids to eat. We also take the step of communicating that to parents. We have a little sign that says, hey, this is what we're giving your kids as a snack, so that parents have that additional information. So again, don't bring your own snacks. Further, we'd ask that you use whatever snacks we provide for your room. So for instance, we have some age-appropriate snacks, such as Cheerios, which are great, but for certain age groups, right? This is great for maybe a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, but we really don't want to be feeding even Cheerios to our infants. In fact, in our infants' room, we will let them have a bottle of the milk that the parents provide, but other than that, we will not feed an infant anything. The choking liability is too high. And so please do not feed anybody in our infant room anything other than liquid milk that's provided by their parent. For a 1 year 2, they might have Cheerios or Puffs. For 3s, 4s, and 5s, we have some things like these veggie straws, which are salty and crispy, but don't have any gluten. They don't have any dairy products. Sometimes we pass out these fruit snacks. Again, no allergies there. These come in a nice little package here, so it's pretty hygienic. But please let us make the decisions about what kind of snacks to provide. If you have a suggestion, we'd love to hear it. We're always looking for new ideas of things that are safe and appropriate for that age group. All right, how do you distribute snacks? Well, we want to do it in a way that is clean and healthy. And the way that I like to think about this is, imagine if you're a parent and you're observing and you're a little skeptical about this church thing and you're standing at the door and watching how snack time plays out. If there's Cheerios all over the carpet and there's kids sticking stuff in their mouth and then putting it on the ground and then another kid comes up and picks it up, you're going to be scared out of your wits. What is going on in this classroom? This is not at all a safe place for my kid. My kid's going to pick up rabies or something, right? So I don't actually think that's how you get rabies. But the point is, we want it to be a place that parents feel safe leaving their kids with us. So if you go to your supply cabinet, you'll find snacks for your age group in there. So here we have Cheerios. You'll also find some things that you can use to distribute the snacks with. Gloves. We don't want you touching food at all. So wear gloves if you are going to be using your hands to distribute food. Or you might be able to do it with cups. So if you're scooping up a substance, dumping it out, or maybe you're scooping it out and handing it out to the kids, we don't want you to physically touch any of the food. We encourage you to use napkins or plates so that the kids can have something to set their food on. And I want to move right over to this table to show you what this could look like. For snack time, you really want all of the kids to be sitting down, and you want them to have some kind of barrier between the table and the food. So in other words, I'm not just going to pour food into kids' hands. I'm not going to use my hand to scoop out the cereal. That's gross. I can either pour it into a cup, or, if that's a little hard, I just scooped out maybe half a thing of Cheerios there, which is plenty for kids because they're going to dump half of it on the floor anyway, right? And these Cheerios are now in a cup. A child can sit there, they can eat their Cheerios one by one, they can put it in their mouth, it's fine. But I'm not dumping Cheerios on the table. if I put Cheerios on the table and tell the kids to eat, this looks like dog food, you know, or something where a kid would just come up. It doesn't have good presentation, and it's not hygienic. Obviously, these have been cleaned at some point during the week, but maybe not since last service, right? So we don't want kids eating off the table. That's not hygienic, right? Eating in cups is great. If they spill it on the floor, I know it's a pain, but you got to get all those Cheerios off the floor. We don't want kids, you know, knocking them down and then, oh, Cheerio. And I know that may seem impossible, all right? But this is part of what we want to train the kids to do for snack time. You sit in chairs, you eat like a little mini meal, and while they're sitting and eating, then you have that time to talk to them, pray a bit with them, review the story, whatever you want to do. But let's have them sitting and eating and not roaming around the classroom with a handful of food in one hand and the other hand they're playing with a toy and cross-contaminating germs and all that kind of stuff. That's not how we're going to do snack, okay? So snack time, think clean, think hygienic, err on the cautious side. Kids can totally do it. It just takes a little bit of training. Okay, so how much food should you give out? This is a great question because snack time is not a substitute meal, right? This is not lunchtime for kids. These little cups are about 6 ounces, maybe 4 ounces, depending on what size of Dixie cups we get. I usually fill them about halfway full, and then I'll give them 2 servings if they want 2 servings, right? There's not any, I'm not going to put down a rule about how many servings you want to do, but if I fill a cup up this full, I don't know if you can see that, that's pretty close to the top. I can guarantee that this is going to get spilled on the floor and there's going to be a lot of Cheerios on the floor. So one of the rules that I had for myself as a parent when my kids were littler was you only put as much in the cup as you're willing to pick up. And so I usually aim for about half a cup full or less because the chance that it gets knocked down on the floor, I got to be willing to clean it up. So whether you're serving veggie straws or Cheerios, that's what I'd aim for. If your snack is pre-prepared, well, there's your serving right there. That's an easy one. Whatever kind of snack you do, though, you are responsible for making sure that the environment is clean when it's all done. So don't leave raisins on the floor to get smushed into the carpet by little feet, right? Don't leave Cheerio crumbs for somebody to choke on later. We do get concerned sometimes from either parents or volunteers or even the community daycare when they come in and there are food items that are left in our rooms. So let's be the ones that clean up our environment. Not only does it make a much better impression on our guests and on our families, it's safer for the kids, all right? So we eat on the table, everything else gets cleaned up after snack time's done. Now, most of you know that we do have a resource room to support and equip our ministry on the early childhood side. This door has a lot of things behind it, but for you as a volunteer, your resources should already be in your room. Our goal is to give you everything that you need in your room, in your cabinet, or on the counter. So you should never need to come into this room to get a supply. If you need some snacks, let's say you've run out of cups or you need gloves, we want you to rely on your coach. Your coach or a staff person is available on your walkie-talkie, and you can call them so that you don't have to leave the room. We don't want you to leave the room and put kids' safety in jeopardy. You're there to minister to those kids, and you want to be present. So if you need something, call us, let us know, and we'll come over here and get the supplies for you. Again, we do not want volunteers coming in here and going, what kind of snack do I want to get the kids today? I think I'll get the Go-Go Squeezies. Well, you might not realize this, but we have other supplies in here that aren't just for early childhood ministry. This is actually for growth track kids, for a child care ministry. So please don't just come in here, find a goodie, and take it out. Your coach will get you your age-appropriate supply. Last thing I wanted to go over with you is these delicious items here. We know that parents have different opinions on candy and specifically sugar consumption, right? We want to be respectful of parents' decisions for their homes. And so we ask that you empower parents and use this as a talking point, even at the end of your service, to let parents decide about whether or not their child can get a sucker for the day. So if you're using these as behavior rewards or even just, hey, everybody's going to get a sucker today, please don't just hand them out to kids and let them pop them in their mouth before the parents come. When the parents arrive, you can Talk to them about how today went. You can say, hey, Myra was so great today. Is it all right if she has a sucker? Kind of like at the bank. You know how at the bank they've got those suckers on the counter? The bankers never just hand your kid suckers. They always ask the parent, hey, is it okay if so-and-so has a sucker? Empower the parents, let them say yes or no, and then we can support family development instead of making the decision for the parent. Thanks again for being part of our Lakeview Kids team. Together, we are using snacks as a way to create a fun and safe environment for children to be able to know Jesus and find change. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to your coach or a staff member, and we'll be happy to help you so that you're completely ready to use snacks in our ministry.